The mayor's voice, smooth, powerful, and utterly lethal, cut through the secure line. "You did not detain a suspect, officer. You detained my chief of staff, and you just called her a thug." The officer's breath hitched, the sound of pure, sick terror audible. The metallic clatter of his dropped police radio hitting the pavement echoed in the silence. A high-pitched, urgent tone, the sound of the mayor's personal security detail alert, blared from the driver's seat. This was the catastrophic climax of his mistake. The sound of his petty arrogance shattering under the weight of the highest political authority in the city. It was a cold, rainy evening in a gentrifying section of Brooklyn. Ms. Diana Cole, a woman of dark complexion in her late 20s, was driving an unmarked, slightly weathered sedan that belonged to the city's Internal Affairs Division. She was finishing an undercover surveillance operation. Due to the rain, she paused briefly in a poorly marked zone to check her secure phone. The aggressive flash of headlights and the blare of a standard siren followed immediately. Two uniformed officers, Sergeant Thomas Rourke and Officer Miller, approached the car rapidly. "Move that piece of junk. You're blocking the street, and we clocked you texting. License and registration, and step out of the car now. You look suspicious." The confrontational opening was immediate and aggressive. The injustice was blatant. The officers immediately escalated a minor parking/phone pause into an aggressive stop based on the term suspicious. Ms. Cole was the victim silently hurt by the hostile assumption of guilt and the demeaning label of her vehicle. Ms. Cole slowly lowered her window, her posture remaining perfectly still. Her Internal Affairs detective badge was carefully concealed. "Officers, I apologize for the delay. I am on an official operation and simply checking coordinates. Here are my credentials." She calmly reached for her wallet, which contained her generic civilian ID alongside her city employee card. The ominous hint of future reversal, faint but powerful, lingered in the room. Ms. Cole's eyes held the deep, forensic scrutiny of a detective trained to expose corruption, a power far more dangerous to them than the law they represented. Fresh, unique opening style. Focus on immediate hostile profiling of an undercover detective who possesses a second, even higher hidden identity. Sergeant Rourke, recognizing the unmarked sedan and sensing an easy target for abuse, ignored her professional demeanor. He was loud, aggressive, and contemptuous. "Official operation?" Rourke sneered, snatching her driver's license. "Looks like you're loitering. And this car is unregistered with the precinct. You know what? I think you stole it. You look like a low-rent thug trying to play dress-up." The discrimination was savage and overtly racist, using the degrading label thug. Ms. Cole suffered emotionally. The word thug, particularly in professional context, was designed to erase her identity and her earned status. She clenched her jaw, but refused to break eye contact, maintaining the cold, professional stare she used during interrogations. "Sergeant Rourke," Ms. Cole said, her voice dropping to a low, warning tone. "I am an employee of the city. I am asking you to verify my employee ID through official channels before you proceed with that slanderous language and false accusation." Rourke laughed, spitting a word out. "City employee? You're going to be an ex-employee. Sweetheart, get out of the car. I'm searching this vehicle for contraband." He opened the door and pulled her out roughly. Silent strength added. Even as Rourke physically pulled her out, Miss Cole did not struggle. Instead, she used a moment to subtly shift her stance, placing her hand briefly on the small, smooth leather card in her inner coat pocket. Her rarely used mayoral chief of staff credentials. This small, nonverbal act of dignity, a silent, physical assertion of her highest, most dangerous status, was her quiet promise that she would endure the abuse but would use her political power to ensure institutional accountability. The tension surged as Officer Miller, seeing the Internal Affairs detective's standard-issue equipment in the back seat, clipboard, secured radio, realized they were making a serious mistake. He tried to caution his partner. "Sergeant, wait, that looks like eye equipment. We should call this in." Rourke instantly silenced him. "Shut up, Miller. She's running a scam. They use these cars for everything." He grabbed Ms. Cole's wrists. "Concealment of property and obstruction. You're cuffed." A low-status relative intervened. A nearby street cleaner, Mr. Jenkins, who saw the harshness of the stop, stepped forward. "Hey, don't you talk to her like that. She's a good woman." Rourke pointed his finger at the cleaner. "Go back to work, buddy. You want a ticket for being a public nuisance." The accompanying Officer Miller, despite his hesitation, moved to block the cleaner, silencing the low-status intervention. Rourke was triumphant. He snapped the cuffs onto Ms. Cole tightly. "Enjoy the ride, thug." He reached into her coat pocket, finding her City Hall access card, the highest level of clearance. He scoffed, tossing it onto the dashboard. Another fake ID. He pushed her into the back of the patrol car. However, a high-status character was watching. Deputy Mayor Sandra Chun, who was driving to the district after a community meeting, saw the unmarked IA car, the officers, and the blatant aggression against a woman of dark complexion being cuffed. Deputy Mayor Chun, who worked with the mayor's chief of staff daily, immediately recognized the woman's coat height and determined posture. Deputy Mayor Chun started paying attention. The click of the patrol car door locking was a final injustice. Ms. Cole, cuffed in the back seat, felt the acid burn of the insult, being labeled a thug, while simultaneously holding the highest operational rank in the mayor's office. Rourke returned to the driver's seat, feeling fully victorious. He picked up his radio. "Dispatch! Transporting one female perp, obstruction, stolen vehicle, and identity fraud. Name is Jane Doe for now." Ms. Cole focused on Rourke's actions, noting the illegal search, the denial of her rank, and the slanderous language. She knew the consequences would be severe, but she had to activate her true power now, before the custody transfer. She had to reveal her internal affairs role first, as a minor warning, before unleashing the true political power of the mayor's office. Using the flexibility of the handcuffs, she nudged the loose City Hall card on the dashboard with her foot, pushing it onto the driver's seat. "Sergeant Rourke," Ms. Cole said, her voice razor-sharp, "you just committed a felony against a federal-level internal affairs detective, and you just called the mayor's chief of staff a thug. You're out of time." Rourke looked at the City Hall card on the seat, then at the eye equipment in the back, then at the woman's terrifyingly cold gaze. He scoffed one last time, clinging to his arrogance, still bluffing. That card is probably cloned. He grabbed the keys and put them into the ignition. The story now hangs at the moment of peak crisis, with the detective/chief of staff cuffed, the officers completely dismissive, and the car about to drive away. Just before the shocking reveal, we want to take a quick moment to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. Rourke put the car in drive, ready to pull away. Ms. Cole acted instantly. Using her cuffed wrists, she maneuvered the high-security handset, which had been clipped beneath her seat, into her lap. She spoke 3 final words, her voice cold and commanding, overriding the noise of the engine. "Mayor's office. Immediate recall." The command, "Mayor's office." Immediate recall was not just a phone call. It was a high-level security protocol that triggered a cascade of political and disciplinary action. The immediate effect was devastating. Before Officer Rourke could accelerate, his police radio crackled violently, not with standard dispatch message, but with direct, encrypted priority signal. The voice was that of Mayor Thompson himself, calm, precise, and saturated with political fury. "Sergeant Thomas Rourke, this is the mayor. Stop your vehicle immediately. I have a live feed of this incident. You are attempting to arrest my chief of staff. You are no longer authorized to move. You have compromised the mayor's office." Rourke slammed on the brakes, the sudden lurch nearly throwing him into the dashboard. His eyes were wide with a terror that transcended mere physical fear. It was the terror of a low-level bureaucrat realizing he had just attacked the highest political power in the city. He stared at the radio, unable to comprehend how the mayor had called him by name. At that exact moment, Deputy Mayor Sandra Chun, who had been observing the incident, pulled her official sedan directly behind the patrol car. She activated her flashing official lights and stepped out, holding her deputy mayor identification high. The truth revealed was absolute. Rourke realized he hadn't just attained an internal affairs detective. He called the mayor's operational right hand a thug. His perceived authority evaporated instantly. Deputy Mayor Chin walked straight to the passenger door, yanking it open. She did not look at Rourke. "Ms. Cole, are you harmed? The mayor is waiting for your return." Ms. Cole simply pointed to the key on Rourke's belt. Deputy Mayor Chin retrieved the key, unlocked the cuffs, and Judge Cole stepped out of the car, her movement radiating pure, cold command. The wrongdoers went silent, understanding that their fate was sealed by political decree. Ms. Cole stood on the sidewalk, adjusting her cuffs and her coat. She was no longer Detective Cole. She was the mayor's chief of staff, and the street was her administrative hearing. Sergeant Rourke stumbled out of the car, trying to apologize. "Ms. Cole, I didn't know your capacity. It was just a stop, I swear." Ms. Cole cut him off with a single, slicing gesture of her hand. She did not raise her voice. She addressed the deputy mayor, effectively treating Rourke as invisible. "Deputy Mayor Chun, thank you. I request a full internal affairs investigation be opened on Sergeant Rourke, citing excessive force, racial profiling, and obstruction of a primary executive branch official. Furthermore, I request his immediate suspension pending administrative review. This is not about the badge. This is about the slanderous word thug and the prejudice that allowed him to compromise a city operation." The audience witnessed the reversal with stunned silence. The sheer, overwhelming power of the Chief of Staff's command was palpable. The Chief of Staff used the moment to deliver instant karma through institutional control, making Rourke's humiliation public and irreversible. Deputy Mayor Chin did not hesitate. She picked up her own secured phone. "This is Deputy Mayor Chun. I am ordering the immediate suspension of Sergeant Thomas Rourke and Officer Miller. Send the captain of the 73rd Precinct to this location for disciplinary action now. This incident is now a matter for the mayor's office." Rourke's face crumpled. He looked at Officer Miller, who was already stripping off his police radio strap in quiet defeat. Rourke was not only fired, but publicly disgraced by the direct, unassailable authority of the city's highest office. Ms. Cole walked over to the street cleaner, Mr. Jenkins, who had tried to intervene earlier. He was watching with wide, stunned eyes. She approached him, smiling warmly. "Mr. Jenkins," Ms. Cole said, her voice soft now, "you saw the injustice and you spoke up. That is the highest form of citizenship. Thank you." This crucial family connection moment showed her humanity and commitment to the community she represented. The captain of the 73rd Precinct arrived quickly, his face grim. He rushed Ms. Cole, offering a profound, desperate apology on behalf of the department. Ms. Cole simply nodded, accepting the apology but not the exoneration of Rourke. Her dignity was fully restored not just by her power, but by the fact that she forced the institution to apologize for the racial slur and the profiling. Life instantly improved for Ms. Cole. She was safe, successful, and had just used her political capital to clean corruption out of the system she served. The emotional toll was lifted as she watched the captain escort the disgraced officers away. Ms. Cole watched a patrol car, and the mayor's entourage prepare to leave. Her emotional closure came from knowing that Rourke's prejudice had not just ended his career, but would serve as a formal warning throughout the entire police department. She picked up Rourke's discarded City Hall card, the one he had dismissed as a fake, and slipped it into her coat pocket, an unnecessary but satisfying souvenir. Deep reflection, Ms. Cole reflected that the uniform and the badge were meaningless when wielded without respect or intelligence. True authority is earned through service, and arrogance is the quickest path to political self-destruction. Her double identity was the ultimate weapon against the double standard of racism. The calm ending was the sight of Ms. Cole being ushered into the deputy mayor's vehicle, briefcase in hand, speeding back toward City Hall. She was no longer the detective or the suspect. She was the architect of municipal power, ready to resume her work. The rain had stopped, and the street cleaner returned to his work, witnessing that night the immediate, visible triumph of justice.